Thank you for checking out Lakehead International's videos. You're about to watch one of our Lakehead International live webinars, a fun and informative way to learn more about Lakehead while also meeting faculty, staff, and current students. If you have any questions throughout today's video, please comment below. Otherwise, let's get started. And with that, I want to welcome you to Lakehead University and share a bit more about our institution. So for those of you who don't know, Lakehead University is a public institution within Canada. More specifically, we're located in the province of Ontario. We are proud to have two hometowns. One is located in central Ontario in Orillia, and the other campus is located in northwestern Ontario in Thunder Bay. Between those two campuses, we have over 7,500 students pursuing 85 different degrees and programs. And you can learn more about all of those programs on our website. But chatting a bit more about Lakehead and why we're so proud of where we work is really some of the rankings that we've been recognized for our achievements over the years. So Lakehead is considered the #1 in Canada not-for-profit research income in terms of undergraduate research category. We're also recognized as the #1 university in North America with under 9,000 students currently studying with us, and that's by the Times Higher Education Global Impact Ranking. So those rankings are tied directly to the 17 UN Sustainable Development Goals. Here in Canada, on a national scale, we're recognized in Canada's top 10 universities within our category. And then looking to some of the really unique offerings here at Lakehead, it comes up with the scholarship. So our undergraduate scholarship program is one of Canada's most generous. We offer over $7.8 million just last year to our undergrad students. We also are really proud to offer small classroom sizes. On our Thunder Bay campus, we have 15:1 as a student to professor ratio. And on our Orillia campus, we have a 13:1 student to professor ratio. And what that equates to is more one-on-one time with your peers and building connections with your classmates who are going to support you in your own education journey. But of course, most importantly, your connection and your access to your professor who is going to be guiding you through your education journey. What that all comes down to, or boils down to, as we like to say, is really strong employment rankings. And so we're proud to have over 96.3% of our grads employed within 2 years upon graduation. That is above the Ontario average of 94.3. And we'll chat a bit more about the Faculty of Education today, which has an even higher employment ranking. Before we chat about Faculty of Ed, I'll give you a quick overview of all of our areas of study, which include business administration, engineering, science and environmental studies, natural resources management, education, social sciences and humanities, health and behavioral sciences, law, and graduate studies. On that note, though, we are going to dive into the Faculty of Education, and it's my pleasure and honor to welcome our special guests. I'll kick it off by passing over to Dr. Melville to introduce himself.
Thanks, Jordan, and welcome to the Faculty of Education, and thank you for your interest in our programming. As Jordan said, we have two campuses, Thunder Bay, which has been operating since 1963, which serves Northwest Ontario, and Orillia, which serves Simcoe County in Southern Ontario, which has been operating since 2006. We have a very long history and a very proud history of working with our communities, working with school boards, individual schools, and in Northwest Ontario with our Indigenous communities that we serve. In the undergraduate education field, we have a range of concurrent and consecutive programming, which allow you to be certified by the Ontario College of Teachers to teach basically anywhere in Ontario. And because of the quality of our programming, also recognized across the country and also across the world. And we'll talk a bit more about international placements later. The other part of our program, which is really exciting, and Meredith will be talking about this shortly, is our graduate program, which doesn't permit you to teach within schools, but does open up all sorts of opportunities, not just within education and administration and so on, but a whole range of other careers as well. So Jordan, thank you very much for the opportunity, and I'll turn it over to Don Kerr.
Thank you, Wayne, and thanks for joining us today in our webinar. I'm Don Kerr. I'm chair of the Undergraduate Studies Department. We run PJ and IS programs in Thunder Bay and in Orillia, and a new technological education program, which I'll mention shortly too. My background is philosophy of education. That's my training, and I spend a lot of my days these days thinking about teacher education. So let me tell you a little bit about teacher education in the province of Ontario and then about our particular programs. So in Ontario, and in most of Canada, if you want to be a teacher, you can do either a consecutive teacher education program or a concurrent teacher education program. Consecutive education programs are 2 years in Ontario, and you do those after completing another undergraduate university degree. A concurrent program is where you are registered for both programs at the same time. So they're usually 5 to 6 years. You complete a BA perhaps in English or a BSc in math or science. You have another area of study, and at the same time you do your BEd. And when you finish your program, you graduate with 2 undergraduate degrees. In both of those degrees, the BEd is a teaching degree. So when you complete our program, the BEd, we also recommend you to the College of Teachers. The program is certified by the College of Teachers, and you become a certified teacher. We also have a new technological education program that we've just introduced this year. We have 2 pathways. We currently have a diploma pathway, and we're in the process of introducing a degree pathway as well. This is for people who have a trades background. You have to have a minimum of 2 to 5 years of a trades background and possibly some undergraduate study as well. And this leads you to become a technological teacher in high school. So that would be the people who work in tech ed shops and so on. The 2 streams that we offer at in Lakehead are PJ and IS. So that's primary junior, which is to become a teacher to teach kindergarten to grade 6, and IS, which is to teach grades 7 through 12. People who want to be elementary teachers or PJ teachers need to be prepared to teach a range of subjects in the classroom, any subject in the classroom, and they're certified to teach kindergarten children as well. At Lakehead, we have a math competency test. This is an opportunity for you to assess your own math knowledge. Everyone who's teaching at an elementary level has to be prepared to teach elementary math. So if your math is not strong enough, or it's not very strong at this point, we provide a range of supports. We provide an additional course in math knowledge to support your knowledge development. And we require a minimum of 70% on the math competency test to pass. If you take your PJ program in Thunder Bay, we also offer a pod program, which is where we start the students in the first year of their program out in schools, in elementary schools, 1 day a week. So for 1 day a week, you'll take your university courses, but you'll take those in one of the local partner elementary schools. We find this is really exciting for our students to become reacquainted with the life of an elementary school, to see what goes on in the schools, how the principal organizes their school, and hopefully get the opportunity to go into classes and support teachers in their classes. The pods are a really excellent opportunity to develop your experience and your skills. If you want to be a high school teacher or a intermediate teacher, you would go through our IS pathway. People who want to do the IS pathway have to have 2 teachable areas. So that means your other undergraduate preparation, you need an area of study. You need at least a full year of study in one area and 3 FCEs, or the equivalent about most of a year of study in another teachable area. So that would be the subjects that you want to teach in high school. That would be like English and history would be a common 2 teachable areas, or math and physics perhaps. And when you're thinking about what teachable subjects that you might do, the most common thing we suggest to students is to think, what is it you enjoy? What are you passionate about? What do you really want to pass on to other people? It's not always what you're best at. Sometimes it's the things that you really move you, and things that you really enjoy thinking about. Here's all of the teachables that we offer. We offer all these teachables in Thunder Bay, and currently in Aurelia we offer English, environmental science, geography, history, mathematics, biology, chemistry, and science general, and social sciences general.
Awesome. Well, thank you for sharing more about the teachables for the intermediate senior route, and then also some of the unique experiences that our PJ students will gain if they do pursue it on the Thunder Bay campus. Of course, I myself even have friends that have done these different pathways and have shared some great experiences with me. We're going to dive into that next, where we chat a bit about placements. So I'll pass back to you, Don, to share more about teaching placements.
Thanks, Jordan. So as part of your program with us, you'll do 4 placements totaling 105 days. And the placements are your opportunity to practice. Over time, you're developing skills as a teacher. So when you start off, it's expected that you're primarily observing the associate teacher working with in the classroom. And then by the end of the 3rd placement, you're doing 80 to 100% of a teacher's load at a much higher level of work. So it's a graduated release into teaching, or supported release, where the expectations increase in terms of your development. We provide a lot of development and support for new teachers as they're going through their placements. So there's you always are working with an associate teacher and a faculty advisor to mentor you in the classroom.
And Don, I know that some students, a common question that comes up is they're worried, how are they going to meet teachers to then be in their classroom? What does that process look like? Just to give them an idea of the support the Faculty of Education provides them in terms of that placement opportunity.
So we find all your placements for you. We ask our new students as they're coming in where they would like to be placed and what subjects they would like to be placed, or grade levels. And then we find all of those placements for you. And then the teachers that you'll be working with are very supportive. They're teachers who themselves usually have a lot of experience, and they want to support new teachers in their growth. So we find really excellent teachers to work with, and we're very lucky in this way.
Awesome. And on the heels of teaching placements and chatting about unique learning opportunities, I'll pass it over to Wayne to share more about international teaching placements.
Thanks, Jordan. So the first 3 placements in the Bachelor of Education program are within the province of Ontario. With the 4th placement, there is a bit more flexibility. And so we have options for people to go and take placements in educational settings which are not schools. And so we've had people working in forest schools, outdoor education centres, museums, botanical gardens, and also working with kids who have special needs, and also in even things like culinary schools. And so that's one tremendous opportunity which is available. And Don and his opposite number, Dr. Sonia Mastrangelo in Aurelia, run outstanding teams of people to help support people to follow their dreams with that. The other option we have, and this is only back in the past year after COVID, are the international teaching placements. And so in March, we had a number of students going teaching in London. Also had people going to Peninsular Malaysia for the first time, Australia for the first time, and also one which makes several people jealous during the Canadian winter, was San Martin in the Caribbean, where one of our alumni is now teaching. So he's worked with our student teachers. So the way international placements work is to be successful in the first 3 placements and then apply. And then we have a process for making sure that people know what they're getting themselves into, and then run through stages needed to prepare you to be successful, putting you in contact with the school you're going to be working in, organizing contact with associate teachers, and also all the background work around keeping safe as you're traveling overseas, and also housing and so on. So all that process starts November, December of the year before you go on placement in March and April. And we have a designated person who's very experienced and does a wonderful job of supporting people. We are looking at other international placements as well, but we're just redeveloping these things after COVID. If you're interested in the benefits, sorry?
No, go ahead, sorry.
If you're interested in, okay. If you're interested in the benefits of international placements, by all means, and Jordan will put this up in the chat shortly, have a look at our latest Education Exchange newsletter, which has stories of people who have gone to all these wonderful places over the past year, and how it's basically changed their life. So Jordan, sorry, I cut you off there.
No, that's okay. I was going to add the Education Exchange for those who may be watching this as a recording. You're more than welcome to find the Education Exchange newsletter on the Faculty of Education's website simply by navigating to lakeheadu.ca. So thank you for sharing more about that teaching placement. Something I really want to drive home and reiterate here. If you didn't pick up on it or catch on it, one of the requirements from the Ontario College of Teachers is having those 3 placements. So the thing with Lakehead is that we've gone above and beyond, and we've provided 4 placement opportunities, which gives you a better idea of what to anticipate when you enter that career field, or you want to become a teacher and you want to have that classroom setting. But it also, as Wayne mentioned, it provides that flexibility to perhaps go abroad, do a teaching placement in a different country, or do a diverse teaching placement in an educational setting. So I think that's really great to hear. And I wanted to reiterate that and make sure the audience took that in with them. On that note, I would love to pass it over to Meredith, who's going to share more about our graduate programs here at Lakehead University.
Hello, everyone. I'm Dr. Meredith Noble-Johnston. I am the Chair of Graduate Programs and Research in the Faculty of Education. So my area really is overseeing all of the graduate students that come into the program. And so I'll start a little bit about talking. I'll start with talking about our different program areas. Coming into the graduate studies, one thing to note is that we require an undergraduate degree. Your undergraduate degree does not need to be in the area of education. However, if you are coming in with something that is in a related field, we'll ask you to explain how that fits into the program, because as I go through this, we'll talk about how not necessarily do we have everybody coming as a teacher into our program, but the majority of our classes have a link to K-12 or adult education. So if your background is quite significantly different from that, you might have some difficulties. So I'm going to start with educational studies, even though it's on the bottom. Most of the students that come into our program are in educational studies. Educational studies covers a variety of areas: curriculum, assessment, psychology. We have some policy in there, technology education, just a wide variety of areas. Within this, we also have joint specializations with the Department of Gerontology. So if you are really interested in what happens as people get older and working with the elderly, then gerontology would be where you would apply. We also have a joint specialization with gender and women's studies. And you can actually declare that specialization in both Education for Change and educational studies. But if you are interested in feminist research, or you are interested in looking at the effects of gender and gender identity on education, that would be where you would be. So within this, our programs, we also have Education for Change. So if you are a person who is very interested in research and scholarship and how they affect social change through social justice or Indigenous education, which in our faculty has a strong focus on North American Indigenous cultures, or environmental and sustainability education, these would be the areas for you. So within the master's program, we really have 3 ways that you can go through. By and large, most of our students that go through take a course-based program. So in a course-based program, what happens is students over their 2 years will take 10 classes. And then at the end, and there's some mandatory classes in there and some electives, and it's structured differently based on which master's program you go into. But they'll take 10 classes, and at the end of that, they're finished. Some students choose to do a thesis. And so thesis-based students is someone who is really interested in a specific topic within educational studies or education for change. And they will work with a supervisor who is one of our tenured faculty members or an adjunct member to really look into how to do research in that area. So for example, and I'll talk about the research coming up maybe on the next slide, but we have supervisors in all of our areas for education for change. So we have supervisors in social justice, we have supervisors in Indigenous education, we have supervisors in environmental and sustainability education, or my area, which is early literacy, but we do have a variety of supervisors in different areas. And one thing I'm going to say is that maybe we could put up the designated faculty list so that students who are interested in a thesis would be able to see kind of who we have that's supervising, because we want to make sure that there's a good fit, and we try not to supervise too far outside of our area because we need to be able to support you. The third option at the master's level is a portfolio. So a portfolio is somewhere in between course-based and a thesis program. So a portfolio might be something like working with the supervisor to develop a teacher's guide in an area. Or recently, I supervised a student or co-supervised a student who developed a series of podcasts for educators about how to work with students with autism in high school, because there's not a lot of support. So really the focus then is on practical. On the other hand, we also have our doctoral programs. So at Lakehead, the doctoral program is shared with the University of Windsor and Brock University, and each of the three schools contribute students in each year. I will say it's a very highly competitive program, and Lakehead each year is able to admit up to 8 students. So that's from all of our applications that come in. But don't let that dissuade you, because we have a very exciting program in the areas of cognition and learning. So cognition and learning students are those that are interested in how we learn. Curriculum studies is under that, psychology is under that. We also have leadership and policy studies if you're interested in policy and how that affects schools. But I will say that by and large, our most popular is social, cultural, and political contexts. So again, if you're a person who's very interested in how policy affects students and how culture affects students, and really with a looking forward to how to change things like inequity in education, that should be where you are. So the other part I wanted to talk about is a little bit about research. So we do have a number of thesis students and portfolio students who are doing research in really interesting areas. So unlike maybe some contexts you might be familiar with, most of the students in the faculty are doing individual research. So I know that some universities, you might apply into a research team and you're doing research that the supervisor is doing, and you might be a small part of the team. But our requirements into our program, particularly at the doctoral program, at the doctoral level, is to be doing your own independent research under the supervision of a supervisor. So I will say we have a variety of different research happening. We have research happening in schools. We have research happening in Indigenous communities. We have students who are working with professors on climate change and looking at the climate emergency and also the response of students and young people and older people like me to the climate emergency. So just a really big variety of research that is occurring. But I will say that not everybody who comes into our program is ready to think about doing research, and that's okay. Most students come into our program on a course-based basis, and then it might be in your first semester or in your first year, you get really excited about something that comes up in your coursework, and you really become passionate about that, and you might want to look at doing a portfolio, or you might want to look at doing a thesis, and you are able to change. So if you're admitted to the program and you're interested in doing research, please come talk to me and we'll talk about how that would work. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing more about the graduate programs at Lakehead, and more specifically, really elaborating on the different routes that we have. So the thesis, that of course is students that are focused on really diving into that research piece, and then course being the folks that are in for a little more of the prescribed learning, but at the end of the day will graduate something they're passionate about. And then the blended route being the portfolio. I'm also happy that you noted that students that who be admitted to a course-based approach might fall in love with a specific topic, may even meet one of their professors, understand what they're currently researching, and go, that's the light bulb, that is what I want to pursue, that's where I could see myself studying further, and they make a program change. So to our viewers today, I'm excited that you got to hear a bit more about that and what that looks like. Meredith, I'll ask you, you noted at the beginning of your portion, students can check out the designated supervisors list. Is that available on the Faculty of Education's website for students to review and then perhaps approach the different tenured and adjunct professors?
Yes, we usually have it on our joint PhD website, but we can make it available on the website. It's constantly changing. We're just updating it now, so it should be available soon.
Okay, good to know. And then with that being said, folks, I do want to take an opportunity. Of course, we've talked a bit about the full journey with Faculty of Education. I mean, there's very diverse routes in terms of career paths, and by no means is this an exhaustive list. I think that we would have 20 more slides if we had listed where all of our graduates from Faculty of Education have gone with their careers, but naturally we see our graduates go into teacher positions or become principals, directors of educations, they become tutors themselves, or they teach English as a second language, or perhaps they use the skills that they developed at our Faculty of Education and learned how to become a good teacher and taught their own language as a second language, perhaps here in Canada or elsewhere around the world. I won't list the rest of them, but they're up there for you to get inspired and perhaps give yourself an idea of where you may be able to take your career. I would also note, though, don't pigeonhole yourself. This does not mean that because your career or your aspiration is not listed on here that it's not possible. When you arrive here at Lakehead and you start to get to know your professors and some of the support staff that will be helping you each and every day within the Faculty of Education, you can start to chat with them and explore those ideas. Get involved and share your passions, and they may have opportunities for you to really experience more within your program. Before we wrap up, I also want to chat more about one of our outstanding alumni. This is Sadaf, who was a graduate of our Master of Education program. When reflecting on their Lakehead experience, they simply chose, they said that they chose Lakehead because it provided a high standard of education, while yet still being affordable, both in terms of living costs and also the academics, so the tuition expense. And it also provided her an opportunity to build great peers and connect closely with professors because of those small class sizes. So the final note here in this reflection of her Lakehead experience was that Lakehead provided her with a great experience and a high-class education. If you chat with many of our graduates, they have a similar experience, although they may have more to share about what was unique to them or what made their Lakehead journey special. But I think that's just it right there, is that each experience is unique, and it is what you make it. And so we encourage you, when you arrive here, make sure to pursue your passions, to connect with your peers and connect with your professors, and really take on the challenge of university. With that being said, that does conclude our formal presentation on the Faculty of Education. Next, we're going to dive over into the live question and answer period. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any questions, I want to encourage you to comment below or connect with us on social media. We can be found at Lakehead International on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Thanks for watching once again, and hopefully we'll see you at the next live webinar. Bye for now.